Iburu, Iboya, Ibuche, everybody in Cyberland. Okay, it's your favorite Babalao. Awoni Orumila Odilege coming at you with something special. I wanted to give special tribute to Oshun. Oshun, near and dear to my heart. One, because I think she's a very misunderstood Ocha with tremendous power. She is the youngest of all the Ochas, but not everybody understands the true power that Oshun carries, the true connection that Oshun has with Ifa. And when people think of Oshun, they don't necessarily relate Oshun to the muertos, to the eguns. So I wanted to make sure I did a special tribute for Oshun. When we talk about Oshun, we think about quite a few things here. We think about somebody whose aspect in life is feminine, okay? So she has a feminine aspect to her. We talk about a lot of her struggles in life, being the youngest of the Ochas, being one who went through the struggles of love, one who at the end of the day is the owner of the creation of mankind. When you think about that she is the fetus, okay, the womb itself that harvests human beings and creates something that births life. When we talk about those things, we also need to remember that Oshun, because of the Patakis, we know Oshun to be the wife of Odua, the wife of Orisha Oku, the wife to Ogun, the wife to Orumila. Oshun got it. She has not necessarily, when you look at the literal aspects of things, was she a wife to other very strong Orishas and warriors, and she may not be a warrior, but Oshun, what that tells us is she has pacts. She has pacts with all these individuals to the extent that Oshun, okay, can save every Orisha, can save every Ocha with her aspects of life. All right. When we think about Oshun, she can save Obatala, and a lot of people can't do that. So when we talk about Oshun, we gotta remember, who are we talking about? The youngest of the Ochas, yes. But does that mean weakness? Does that mean that she's incapable? No, just like every divinity, she's beautiful in her own way. When we talk about her, we talk about her pack with the Eguns. We talk about, daughter of Nana Baruku and Olofi. We have stories there. But I want to talk about specifically her tie to Ifa. I'm a Babalao. I'm not a Santero. So I want to talk about a pataki, a certain pataki that kind of ties in the Eguns, okay, to a certain extent, but also kind of gives you something to think about. When we talk about the Odun, or Chetura, Babalaos recognize Ochetura as the Ache, the life force, the power that gives the divinities the abilities to do. The mandate from Olofi himself to give those certain attributes and power to those divinities as they dictate how the earth needs to be molded. Oshun is represented in Ochetura. That right there alone should start to make you think just a little bit, right? And then we go into the Pataki of Oshun with Ogun and Orula's recognition in this world when Obatala came down as a representative for Olofi, talking about this is Orula. These green and red beads is what gives us the pact with the Eguns, with Fomiku, to take us no earlier than designed. Oshun was in the midst of all that. The yellow comes from Oshun. So let us think about Oshun in a different light. Let us think about her as one of the strongest entities out there. Oshun is the keeper of Odua's realm. Okay? Who's Odua? Odua, I can tell you honestly, is you might as well call him the king of the dead. Odua has that much influence in the realm of Eguns. Oshun was the daughter, I'm sorry, not the daughter, the wife of Orula, and gave a child to Orula. Oshun understands Ifa. Oshun was the Apiti, okay, the wife to Orula, which is why we have ceremonies today that make women Apitibis to Orula, to Babalaos, to Ifa. Okay? So who's Oshun? We ask. We got to truly think about who is Oshun. So we know Oshun to be goddess of love. We talk about she's beautiful. We talk about the owner of the rivers. We talk about, we already talked about that she was the wife to Odua, gave Odua a child, gave Orula a child, gave Inle a child. But at the end of the day, who is Oshun? And then we start thinking about a second Odun in Ifa. I told you I'm just going to talk Oduns in Ifa because Ifa is the realm that dictates everything on a universal aspect. So then we start thinking about Ireteyero. Okay? This is where Oshun's Egun powers manifest. And Ifa tells us this. For someone to say that Oshun is the youngest and to dismiss Oshun because she's not a warrior is a big no-no. It's a false nomenclature. We cannot do those things. So I wanted to kind of dedicate this one out to Oshun. The smallest, yet supplies Ache to everyone, to include Obatala. And I tell you that lightly because Obatala is the king of Ocha, right? He's held on a very high pedestal. It was Obatala that was the original owner of all heads. But because he wanted everybody to be his kids, that responsibility now went to Ifa to dictate who needs to be the guardians. Oshun's story begins in the very beginning of what Ifa was based on, the Sino Chetura. I would have to go back to that again. So we have to be very careful when we talk about Oshun. We got to remember that she wears a crown on her head in the name of Orula. Orula dictates what we do as Babalaos on the word of Ifa, which in essence is the word of Olofi. So I think it's very important to understand that Oshun is a very powerful Ocha, and we give praise to her. Yeah, we can always talk all day about the gold and the yellow. We can talk all day about the rivers, and she has a beautiful feminine aspect to her. We could talk about the Ocha stories that talk about that she gave up some of her long hair to Yemaya in replacement for ribbons and of different colors, and it was Oshun that kind of manipulated the hairstyles, and that's where we got cosmetology from. Okay, people dressing up their hair and their beautiful looks and the makeup. Oshun has a lot of beautiful aspects in those things, but let's not negate the fact that Oshun has a very powerful energy to her. An energy and a current that touches the major aspects of this life. Oshun is just not a river that streams down, that we go take 5 jars of honey and we do something. We take 5 jars of honey because we respect her and we understand the influence that she has in this faith. Oshun is beautiful. Oshun is great. So I wanted to make sure that I brought that up today. Why? Because it's Oshun. And a lot of people forget some of the sacrifices that Oshun has done. Okay? Oshun was the same one that when humanity was going to, to go on a crap, Oshun was the one that had to convince Olofi to give humanity another chance. Oshun was that, not necessarily the warrior we think of her, but she was the one with that courage. She was the one that stood out in front of everybody else. She is your hero for mankind. Oshun, Mafarafun Oshun. So I wanted to dedicate this video, especially because somebody hit me up on Gmail. They had a couple of questions about a path of Oshun. We answered that. They went out, they did something beautiful. They felt more empowered. They felt great. But I was remiss because I said, you know what? I think it's a great idea to talk about Oshun. Because we got a lot of sons and daughters of Oshun out there that need to recognize some of these pacts that Oshun has. And when you're going through your Ocha ceremonies and you're going through your crownings, I would almost make you think twice that a Bawalao and Ifa they have to be consulted. Why would you not consult someone who has a pact with Ifa? I would almost challenge you to say, where's the representation of the Eguns? Where's the representation of all the other beautiful things that Oshun represents other than just the materialistic aspects of Oshun? Oshun has a lot to do with a lot of different things, a lot of cross currents that have to be acknowledged. So for all the sons and daughters of Oshun out there, you carry on your head a beautiful Orisha, and don't ever forget it. Don't let anybody ever tell you anything different. One is not better than the other. But Oshun, man, special part of my heart. So this was a dedication to Oshun. Ifa style. A Babalao perspective on Oshun. So with that said, Iburu, Iboya, Ibuche, Che, Cyberland, Mafarafun Oshun. And if you have any comments, please leave it below. Hit the like, hit the share, okay? Shoot me an email, la regla de Ifa, la.regla.de.ifa, la.regla.de.ifa@gmail.com. All right, guys, Cyberland, always a pleasure. From the bottom of my heart, Iburu, Iboya, Ibucheche.